In recent months, a growing sense has been forming within the tech community that we are on the verge of one of the most unexpected turns in the history of the world's largest company, Apple. A company that for decades has been associated exclusively with personal devices, smartphones, laptops, watches, and the ecosystem around them, now appears to be gradually shifting its strategic direction. And while Apple once cautiously experimented with new categories, the growing number of leaks, insider reports, and indirect signals now point to something far more radical, an entry into an entirely new class of products that could define the future of the entire industry. More and more analysts, insiders, and supply chain sources are pointing to the same conclusion. Apple is actively investing in the development of a humanoid robot, and this no longer looks like an experiment or a research project. It looks like the beginning of a new era for the company itself. This raises the key question: why now? And is Apple entering this race too late? Because if you look at the market, it becomes clear that the biggest technology players have long since begun competing for leadership in robotics. Tesla, with its Optimus project, Amazon with its warehouse robots and home automation experiments, and Google with its investments in AI and robotics startups, all of them have already taken their first steps. Moreover, some are already demonstrating working prototypes capable of performing real tasks. Against this backdrop, Apple, known for not rushing and instead entering markets only when it can redefine the rules, finds itself in a very interesting position. On one hand, it has enormous resources, unmatched experience in building seamless user interfaces, and a unique ability to integrate technologies into a cohesive whole. On the other hand, it genuinely risks being late if the pace of robotics development exceeds expectations. However, if you look closely at Apple's strategy over recent years, it becomes clear that the company has been gradually preparing for this move. The cancellation of its long-rumored car project, which was once considered Apple's next big product, may not have been a failure, but rather a strategic pivot. Perhaps the company realized that the future is not in autonomous cars as such, but in autonomous systems capable of operating in any environment. And a humanoid robot could be exactly that kind of device. Imagine a product that combines everything Apple does best: refined design, deep ecosystem integration, intuitive interaction, powerful artificial intelligence, and most importantly, the ability to engage with humans on an entirely new level. This is not just a robot vacuum or a smart speaker. It is a full-fledged digital assistant in a physical body. According to reports, Apple's robot concept is fundamentally different from what competitors are building. While Tesla is focusing on a universal worker capable of handling industrial and logistics tasks, Apple, according to sources, is concentrating on home use. This would be a robot designed to become part of everyday life, something like the next generation of the iPhone, but in the physical world. It would help around the house, interact with the user, and possibly even serve as a companion. And here, Apple is not betting on raw strength or industrial efficiency, but on user experience, on emotion, on the feeling that this device truly lives alongside you. But this is where we reach the most difficult part, because building the physical body of a robot is only half the challenge. The real problem is intelligence, and this is where Apple faces clear difficulties. Siri, despite years of development, still lags behind competitors in artificial intelligence. In an era where models like ChatGPT, Gemini, and others demonstrate levels of understanding and interaction that seemed like science fiction just a few years ago, Apple finds itself in the position of a follower. And if the company truly plans to create a humanoid robot, it will have to solve this problem, either by dramatically accelerating the development of its own AI or by partnering with other players. And that could become the most unexpected twist. Because imagine Apple integrating third-party technology into its product, something that contradicts its entire philosophy of controlling every aspect of its devices. Yet, in a new reality where the speed of technological progress is decisive, the company may have to rethink this approach. And if that happens, it will signal that even Apple is forced to adapt to new conditions. Nevertheless, if Apple succeeds in executing its project, it could transform the entire industry. Because Apple has always excelled at one thing: turning complex technologies into mass-market products. The iPhone was not the first smartphone, but it was the first one that millions truly wanted. And if Apple can do the same with robots, we may witness the moment when humanoid robots stop being something confined to laboratories and become part of everyday life. Now let us try to imagine what such a robot might look like. Judging by Apple's approach, it is unlikely to resemble a classic humanoid with a hyper-realistic appearance. Most likely, it will feature a minimalist, perhaps even slightly abstract design, with white and aluminum surfaces, smooth lines, and no unnecessary details, something instantly recognizable as an Apple product. Its movements will be as smooth as possible, almost organic, without sharp mechanical gestures. Its voice will be natural and calm, adaptable to the user. Its face or display may be dynamic, capable of expressing emotions. But the most important aspect is interaction. This robot must understand context, anticipate actions, and act not just as a tool, but as an assistant. It could control the home, cook, help with shopping, monitor health, remind about tasks, and communicate, essentially becoming the physical embodiment of the entire Apple ecosystem. But again, the question arises, will Apple be able to deliver this at the level users expect? Because the bar for the company is extremely high, and if the product is not perfect, it may fail to achieve the impact Apple is aiming for. On the other hand, if it succeeds, this could become the company's most important product in decades, possibly even more important than the iPhone. Because this is not just about a new device, but about a new category, a new form of interaction between humans and technology. And that is why everyone is watching this project right now. Investors, competitors, analysts. Because if Apple truly enters this race, it will change the rules of the game. And then the question will no longer be whether it was early or late, but whether it can once again do what it has done before, arrive later than everyone else and still become the leader. And perhaps we are witnessing the very beginning of that process. And if we look a bit further ahead, beyond the first versions of such a device, it becomes clear that this may not be just a product, but an entire platform around which a new ecosystem could form over time, similar to what happened with the iPhone and the App Store. Because imagine if developers gain access to the robot's body, its cameras, sensors, manipulators, and voice. This would open an entirely new level of applications, where software can not only display information, but physically interact with the real world, helping people with real tasks, from simple daily activities to complex scenarios in education, medicine, or even sports. And in that moment, the robot would stop being just a device made by Apple and become a new digital environment where the products of the future are created. And if the company truly follows this path, we may see the emergence of an entirely new market within a few years, where competition will no longer be about smartphones and laptops, but about intelligent assistants in the physical world. And in this race, the winner will not be the one who builds the first robot, but the one who makes it truly useful, intuitive, and desirable for millions of people. And this is where Apple, despite all the doubts and risks, still holds one of its strongest advantages: the ability to turn technology into something users cannot imagine living without.